Welcome back to How to Happiness. This is the second of 3 videos in a boundaries tutorial series. In the first video, I spoke about how the people that we spend time with can have a really large effect on how we feel about ourselves and our happiness levels. So in this video, I'd like to talk about an exercise that will help us perhaps identify the relationships, friends, family who are more positive in our lives, and then some of those that are probably less positive, and what we can do about creating boundaries or limitations on those negative people and the effects that they have on us, so that we can start building our level of happiness with the people around us. I'd like you now to grab a notepad and pen, so that you a large page, so you've got some freedom to write. And we're going to make a list of all the people in your life, all those people that you connect with one way or another, and then decide and work out which of those are negative, which are positive, and which ones are just neutral. So let's do that now. Now, you might be having some trouble with some people on your list deciding just which column to put them in, and it may be that they don't belong in either negative or positive, but somewhere in the middle, and you'll mark those down as neutral. However, for some people, you may need to think about how you feel as you approach a meeting with them, or try to imagine after spending time with them how you feel, and try to access that emotion or those emotions in yourself, so that you can think about just what effect that they have on you. And while you're doing that, I don't think that it's a great idea to spend too much time delving into the history of your relationship and the things that they've said, and how some event went and why that was bad. We're trying not to get too involved with the negative emotions that can be there and surround certain people in your life. We just want to make a mark, they're a negative, and we're going to use that as an exercise in a sec to try to learn new ways of being happy. So just try to get those marked in. You may want to just turn me on to pause for a little while you get that list happening, or perhaps come back to it at the end of the tutorial when you know what we're using. What I'd like you to do now that we have that list is try an exercise. I want you to spend some time really actively spending time with those people who are most positive, and avoiding those people who are perhaps more negative, and see how we feel perhaps after a period of a week. So what I'd like you to do is cut yourself off a week so that you can do this experiment and really notice how it feels after spending extra time with positive people and less time with the negative people, and really experience the difference of that. So it will help you then to perhaps motivate you to start doing that on a regular basis. Now is, how do you go about avoiding those people? What are you supposed to do? Well, we need to remember that it's just an experiment at this stage, so we're not making any major cuts in life. We can get back to those more negative people perhaps when we're a lot more confident and comfortable in our happiness levels and who we are and how we want to be. So we'll be a lot stronger then and be able to deal with these negative influences and, you know, be able to ride the waves without letting them influence us too much and bring us down. However, right now we're just doing an experiment, so we want to make some excuses for when perhaps those negative people call us to make a coffee date or, you know, a play date with the kids or something, where perhaps we can just let them know that, I'm sorry, we're really busy this week and maybe get back to you next week. Can't fit that in, I'm really sorry. Perhaps you need to see those people, but maybe you can just cut those visits really short. Try to really limit the amount of time that you're spending with them, and just so the positive people on your list, I want you to ring them and make some time to be with them. Make some arrangements to spend time with them, even if you're just talking on the telephone with them, if that's all you can arrange. Now, there are going to be times, probably within this, you know, even in this just 1 week, where you'll need to spend time still with some of those negative people on your list. What we'll want to do then is to try to limit that amount of time. Make some excuses, you've got to get going this week, you can't stay as long as usual, you know, that sort of thing. Perhaps for people that you need to work with, you try and keep the conversation and the time spent with them just on work, get the work stuff done, and then, you know, move on. So just wherever you can, just cut the time with those negative people. However, there's still some other techniques that we can use when we need to be around those negative people, and I want to share those with you now, which I hope will help. The negativity that comes from some of those people that we know, and in fact from negative people in general, really doesn't have anything to do with us. The negativity is about them and their issues and their problems and their past and whatever it is that fuels their negativity. And even though it can sometimes look as though they may attack you verbally in some way, be abusive or just unpleasant and want to bring you down, all of those negative aspects of them are really about them and that really not about you. So if you can manage to keep that in mind when you need to be with some of these negative people, and try not to take those negative aspects of them personally, just recognize that there's some stuff going on for them and just try to allow their negativity to just flow on past you. Now, I have a visual idea for you that perhaps you can try and think of when you need to be with those people and that negativity starts to flow. If you can think of them as a flowing stream, and you are simply a rock in the middle of that stream, and the water, their negativity, just flows past you. You don't need to get into that stream with them. You don't need to go and be part of their flowing stream of negativity. You can just be the rock in the center, calm and quiet, and allow their negativity to just flow past you, if you can. Now, you know, it's not always going to work, and as I was going to mention later, but I'll do that now. We need to be very supportive of ourselves and generous and loving of ourselves, that we are trying new things and we are trying to create new habits for ourselves and change very old and very stubborn habits. So if we fail to be the rock and start to become part of the stream and get involved with their negativity, please try to be gentle on yourself and try not to feel too badly that we haven't managed to do it this time. Just remember that we've made some progress just in the very idea of trying to change. And every time we practice, I'm sure that we'll be able to get further along. We'll be able to spend more and more time resisting the negativity of others around us, and be able to stay calm and positive within ourselves, not allowing those people to have a big effect on us. But these things do take practice, and you're not going to be necessarily able to learn these techniques and use them instantly and everything changes overnight. It takes practice and love and generosity about ourselves and the effort that we're making to continue to move forward. So don't be put off and disheartened when it doesn't always just go the way we feel. These techniques are things to try and to practice, but they're not instantaneous. Now, this third point that I have for you is a really handy tool, and you don't need to practice it so much. It can be useful almost immediately. And that is to, when you need to see one of these negative people in your life, to think ahead to the situation you're about to walk into. The type of comments and the type of attitude and the type of negativity that this person is capable of. And by looking ahead into it and seeing it, it won't be quite so bad when it actually comes about, when it eventuates in reality. Not only that, but you can start while looking at it before you get involved in it, before you go and meet those people. You can think about perhaps some different ways that you can respond, or just even to visualize yourself and imagine yourself being the rock in the water, and the negativity there flowing through and flowing over you and past you. By looking forward into the situation and how it generally plays out, you give yourself a chance to kind of immunize yourself against the power and the impact of that negativity as it comes towards you. It can kind of soften it because you're prepared for it. You're not surprised by it. And also you give yourself the chance to imagine dealing with it in a different way, so that when you go and you are with those people, trying to see yourself as perhaps the rock in the stream and allowing that negativity to flow past you can be a greater tool, because you've sort of practiced it in your mind. You can imagine yourself doing it, and then when you go to do it, there's more opportunity, more chance of you actually being able to use that technique and make it work for you within that situation. Now, just to make sure that it's clear, the idea of the stream and the rock, and you being the rock and allowing the negativity to flow past you, this in itself is a boundary. You're making a boundary here, that you're not allowing that negativity of the other person's to become yours and to affect you too much. So in that way, you're kind of putting a barrier around yourself to not allow that negativity to come too close to you. And in the same way, if you think in the visual form of the rock in the water, that water is just flowing past you and not actually impacting on you. I'll look for a photo that I can put onto the blog for you that will help you give a visual idea of this stream and the rock. And I hope that really helps and works for you. In the next video, I want to talk about some of the relationships that are harder to avoid, that may be negative in your life, specifically parents, children and partners, and some ways that we can try to at least just try out this week's exercise just to see what it's like.